Hi there, my name is Tom, and today I'd like to talk about Ukraine and Russia and the peace negotiations that never happened in the first place. And I'm postponing a video that I'd already planned today that was not political, but this one kind of feels like it's an important topic. There's a lot to cover, so I'll try to handle it quickly but clearly. So, what happened? Well, over the past couple of weeks, there was a media blitz in the United States by the Trump administration, making multiple concessions on behalf of Ukraine to the Russian Federation in exchange for peace. And those talks were to begin just a day and a half ago in Saudi Arabia. Okay, the problem here is at no point does the U.S. have the right to make concessions on behalf of a country that is not the United States. So in Saudi Arabia, the U.S. delegation refused to speak with the Ukrainian delegation until after the Ukrainian delegation signed away mineral rights to the United States. Ukraine, being not patsies or not dupes and not pushovers, refused to sign those documents, and the U.S., wanting to keep things going, agreed to talk to the Ukrainian delegation anyway. So then the U.S. delegation held talks apparently with the Russian Federation without Ukraine. And they made more concessions on behalf of Ukraine. And Ukraine walked away from those talks because they do not want to accept a peace agreement that they didn't have any hand in negotiating, nor will they allow somebody else to make concessions on behalf of the Ukrainian government. Because Ukraine's a sovereign nation. They get to make their own choices. So, what does this mean? Well, first we'll talk about the winners in this. There's a partial win for Ukraine in this because they have reasserted and reaffirmed their sovereignty. That they are a country and they get to decide what that country does. Other people do not get to decide that for them. Let's see. They also established that they will not be pushed around by the United States. They will not be bullied by the United States. And, they get a lot of respect on the world stage for that because the U.S. largely has been seen as a bully over the years. Also, they have lent more credence to the idea that there should be a European alliance, and that they would likely be one of the lead members of such an alliance. All right, who else is a winner? Well, a lot of European countries are, because aforementioned hypothetical alliance is something they're seriously looking at. Just like under Trump's first administration, they're currently seeing the United States as an unreliable and untrustworthy partner in the NATO alliance. Gee, I wonder why. Maybe it's because the Trump administration is trying to sell out an ally to a dictator, just like they did when they sold out the Kurds to ISIS, and like when they sold out the Afghan government to the Taliban. It's kind of funny how the president who's currently doing this is the president who did it in the past. And so the idea of a European alliance that doesn't involve, obviously, the United States is a better and better looking option all the time. Russia, they got a partial win. Yeah, they didn't get the peace and all the concessions that the United States offered. And yes, they're going to continue throwing their people's lives away, but they don't really value the lives of their soldiers. So that loss doesn't affect them too much, but the win that does affect them is they've successfully embarrassed the United States. Big time. All right. What comes after that? Well, now we get to discuss who loses. Well, first, we're going to talk about the NATO alliance. The NATO alliance loses because they're not seen as having the strength and unity that it's had under every presidential administration that isn't Donald Trump's. They're not necessarily seen as an effective hedge against Russian and Chinese expansion because currently it looks like the United States is going to kiss the Russian Federation's backside, and it doesn't help that the U.S. president is currently making public statements that include Russian propaganda. All right, who else? Oh, but since a bunch of those NATO countries in Europe are looking to establish their own European alliance, they can become winners. And that leaves the United States, which is a loser in this in and of itself. Like I said, the U.S. peace negotiations collapsed. The U.S. didn't get anything. The President of the United States is repeating Russian talking points publicly. And if such a European alliance is established, then NATO, which is primarily led by the United States, suddenly becomes a lot less important to everybody. And without NATO, and the U.S. running most of NATO, the U.S. is no longer the leader of the free world. The free world is able to move on without the United States, while we become more isolationist, and our president is kissing Vladimir Putin's backside. So let me know what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.